why take unnecessary risk and punishment?
Sure.
If you can get guys out in the first and second round, then why not?
But at the same time, he may go in there and get absolutely schooled by Oleksandr Usyk, or he might knock him out. I don't know. But personally, at 20, you know, you got to get it right. And Frank, like I said, Frank knows what he's doing, and I think I'd be very surprised if they took that kind of test.
It was 20 years and 5 months when he wins the heavyweight championship of the world. Don't take anything away from Moses Itauma. He could have done that to Dillian in the pomp of his career. You know, there's nobody in the world right now apart from Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury, who he couldn't pick hold.
Moses Itauma has rapidly become one of the most talked about young names in boxing, boldly declaring himself a future threat to heavyweight king Oleksandr Usyk. His latest claim, that he would knock out the Ukrainian master inside just 2 rounds, has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. While such
2 rounds, like I'm prepared to go for 10 rounds. If it goes that, it goes that. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like these fights that I'm going into, I'm not going into them thinking I'm gonna knock him out in a
statements grab headlines, many view them as reckless bravado rather than a grounded assessment of reality. After all, Usyk has defeated some of the most dangerous men in the sport, including Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, doing so with calm, clinical brilliance. For a 20-year-old to believe he could topple one of the greatest technicians of this era so quickly comes across as youthful arrogance, more than a credible threat.
I know any heavyweight has enough force, has enough power, has enough pressure to cause damage to me. So that's why it's just the safest way to not.
But Moses hasn't stopped at bold predictions. He has gone further, insisting that his skill set is already superior to Usyk's, portraying himself as a rising genius whose abilities eclipse even the reigning heavyweight champion. Yet, in the same breath,
I think that's a dreadful fight for Moses too.
He would.
I just think to throw this kid into the wolves at this stage so early in his career, I just don't get what for. He's a young man, let him develop the same as every other fighter, let him learn his.
Moses admits to his lack of experience, particularly in the grueling later rounds of top-level fights. Those are precisely the moments where Usyk excels, exposing raw talent and proving why he is a champion. Former world champion Tony Bellew has been one of the most vocal voices urging caution. He believes throwing an
Itauma is a good fighter, there's no doubt about it, and one day he can go on to be great, but right now he's looking at a generational great in Oleksandr Usyk, and right now I don't.
An untested youngster like Moses into the ring with a proven champion such as Usyk would be reckless and dangerous. Bellew, who has experienced the highs and lows of fighting the elite, knows firsthand how wide the gap can be between hype and reality. In his view, a fight now would expose Moses's inexperience.
The thing that I worry about with Moses is the size. But ultimately, as we've seen now, size becomes irrelevant because look what Oleksandr Usyk's done. This guy's gone out and beaten everyone, including me. He's exceptional. So I don't think Moses is going to be as technically as good as Oleksandr Usyk, but he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's next out.
Far quicker than it would highlight his talent. Adding weight to Bellew's warning, boxing analyst Duke McKenzie acknowledged Moses's raw ability but made it clear that the young fighter is nowhere near Usyk's level at this stage of his career. Usyk has spent years perfecting his craft, building an unbeaten legacy across 2 divisions. McKenzie stressed that while Moses's size and physical attributes are impressive, size alone has never been enough to defeat Usyk. The Ukrainian has made a career out of outclassing bigger, stronger opponents with his unmatched precision and footwork. Trainer Dave Cold.
He's a fighter, he's a winner, he's got plenty of ambition, and he truly believes that he can go in there and beat any man in the world right now, and that includes Oleksandr Usyk. Do I personally think it's too soon? Yes, I do. Usyk's he's a different breed, he's a different fighter. Yes, he's getting older.
Well, also weighed in, praising Moses's confidence and fighting spirit. He admires the young man's self-belief and willingness to call out the very best. However, Coldwell remains firmly grounded, warning that a clash with Usyk right now would come far too soon. Usyk's ring IQ, composure, and technical mastery set him apart from the entire division. Even though age may begin to slightly impact the champion, Coldwell believes Usyk's ability to adapt mid-fight still makes him a nightmare puzzle to solve. Coldwell's message was clear.
This guy have more opponent, you know. Not, okay, give me Usyk. every time, every people who is just win one fight, one good fight. Okay, next Usyk. No problem. No problem for Alex Usyk. You know this guy. This guy 3-time undisputed. 4-time, 5-time.
Without the proper experience against top-tier opponents, stepping into the ring with Usyk could end in disaster for Moses. From Usyk's camp, manager Sergey Lapin has been quick to calm the hype surrounding Moses. Lapin emphasized that Usyk has faced countless so-called next big things throughout his career and beaten them all. As a multiple-time undisputed champion, Usyk thrives under pressure and doesn't see Moses as a genuine threat just yet. That said, Lapin wasn't dismissive. He praised Moses' recent victory over Dillian Whyte, acknowledging the youngster's talent and potential. However, he issued a
Itauma, this good fight. Turkey is good man. This organize more big fighter, more big event, and we see what we do, what next step, and we see what proposition with about.
Stark warning facing Usyk now would be extremely risky. With his strategic brilliance, defensive mastery, and unrivaled big fight experience, Usyk remains one of the most difficult puzzles in world boxing. Lapin hinted that timing is everything. Moses needs more development, more high-pressure fights, and many more rounds under the bright lights before stepping up to championship level. McKenzie echoed this sentiment, reiterating that while Moses has the potential to become a future superstar, patience is essential.
He has the more experience on his side, Itauma.
That's it. Absolutely.
Another 4 or 5 fights down the line, then you're looking at an absolute wrecking ball. Then he would beat everybody put in front of him.
They said
but nobody's going to. Yeah, nobody's
They
going to
said Saturday who's going to give them rounds. That's what he was saying. He wanted them out.
Nobody beats Usyk.
He suggested that with 4 or 5 more fights against quality opposition, Moses could evolve into an unstoppable force. But for now, McKenzie drew a firm line. At this very moment, nobody beats Usyk. His adaptability, elite skills, and championship mentality leave him untouchable. Meanwhile, respected trainer Russ Anber offered perhaps the strongest praise for Moses yet. He called the 20-year-old one of the best young fighters boxing has seen in years, noting his natural talent and fearless approach. Still, even Anber admitted that while Moses' future is incredibly bright, the present belongs to Usyk, a proven pound-for-pound great at the peak of his powers. In short, Moses Itauma's bold predictions may fuel headlines, but the consensus among experts is clear: he isn't ready for Usyk just yet. With patience, experience, and careful development, he could one day rise to the top, but rushing into the deep end now could derail one of boxing's most promising.
Moses is one of the best young fighters boxing has seen in years. And I'm not just saying that based on a result over Dillian. I hope you understand, when I look at a fighter, I'm looking at things that others don't see. I'm not looking at the hype. I'm looking at what he does in the ring, how he does it, his skill set. You know, I'm looking at that because that's the important stuff. And right now, to me, he's shown
young careers. Respected trainer Russ Anber has been one of the strongest voices praising Moses Itauma, not because of headlines or hype, but because of what the young heavyweight has demonstrated inside the ring. Anber highlights Moses' technical precision, crisp footwork, intelligent punch selection, and remarkable composure under pressure as clear signs of a naturally gifted fighter. Unlike some analysts, Anber dismisses Moses' recent win over Dillian Whyte as the sole reason for excitement. Instead, he points to the consistency Moses shows every time he steps between the ropes. In Anber's view, Moses already possesses a higher skill level than most fighters his age, something that could set him apart from his peers for years to come. However, even Anber stops short of declaring Moses ready for Oleksandr Usyk right now. His analysis focuses on potential, not immediate readiness. The foundation, Anber argues, is elite, but proper long-term development remains the key to unlocking Moses' true greatness.
You don't want to rush him. You want to take it easy. You want to take it slow. Don't rush him. Let him enjoy. He's still 20 years old. Let him get to 22, 23 years old. That's the time you start putting him in with the top names in boxing, like the Usyks and like the Wilders or even the Joshuas and the Furies. At the moment, I think you should keep on building him.
Former unified world champion Amir Khan also weighed in, emphasizing a crucial factor often overlooked amid the hype: timing. At just 20 years old, Khan believes Moses has plenty of time to grow physically and mentally before taking on the likes of Usyk, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury. Drawing from his own experience, Khan warned of the dangers of fast-tracking young fighters into world-level bouts too soon. Many promising careers, he said, have been derailed by rushing into the deep end before fighters were truly ready. Khan's advice aligns with a long-term vision for Moses's career: a calculated build-up, sharpening technique, building ring IQ, and gaining experience against top-tier opponents will set Moses up to become unstoppable when he eventually steps in with the giants of the division. Heavyweight boxing is unforgiving, and taking on a champion too early.
That Usyk will want to fight Moses if he's 40 already. So maybe the clock is ticking, the clock is clicking, the clock is ticking for Moses to fight Usyk before he's 40. Maybe as well, he won't want to ruin his legacy, but maybe if Turki Al-Sheikh wants to see the fight, put up enough money, maybe he will fight him, and maybe the legacy will be ruined. But maybe if he fights him before he's 40,
could expose weaknesses that stall or even end his rise. Adding another perspective, boxing journalist Gareth A. Davies pointed out that timing isn't just about Moses's development, it's also about Usyk's career clock. Usyk, now in his mid to late 30s, is edging closer to the twilight of his career. By the time Moses reaches his physical and mental peak, Usyk could be nearing 40 or even retired, potentially unwilling to risk his legacy by facing a hungry young challenger. Davies warned that if Moses waits too long, he may miss the chance to fight Usyk altogether. There's also the financial angle. If major promoters like Turki Al-Sheikh are willing to put up enough money, Usyk might be tempted into the fight despite the risks. But if negotiations drag or the payday isn't enticing enough, Usyk could walk away entirely. For Team Moses, this creates a delicate balancing act: patience versus opportunity. They must allow Moses time to develop while making sure the window to fight Usyk doesn't close forever. What's clear is that Moses Itauma's rapid rise has shaken up the heavyweight division, sparking intense debate throughout the boxing world. Experts remain deeply divided. Some, like Russ Anber, believe Moses's technical brilliance already separates him from other young prospects, making him a special talent destined for greatness. Others, like Amir Khan, insist that rushing him into elite-level fights too soon could jeopardize